Today on The Gold Standard.
If we can't trust our money, it's not money. Central bankers and governments have weakened the value of our money tremendously with the attitude of we can print and spend as much as we want to infinity.
And
I mean, how
beyond.
outrageous, Dave, of a statement is that? We can print and spend as much as we want to infinity. I mean, this has to have consequences, right?
This is The Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Deno. Welcome to The Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Ken, it is a pleasure to join you again this week.
Always a pleasure to join you, Dave.
Our topic today is paper assets that can be used to own physical gold. In shorthand, I kind of said you can turn paper into gold, and we'll get into that in just a moment. In light of several recent events, the reason for this is becoming more and more urgent. But first, let's look at some of the financial headlines from the past few weeks. First, the Federal Reserve Board, the Fed, raised interest rates 0.75%, and that's a huge rate increase that will negatively affect retirees and soon-to-be retirees in a number of ways. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, and that's very important, Dave, as a lot of people out there are kind of worried about if they're going to have enough to live on, especially with inflation and everything else. But the reports I'm seeing, Dave, are saying that the rate hike will negatively impact people in several different ways. You know, first you have to think about the interest that they pay on credit cards is going to go up. Then, as we already are seeing this, mortgage rates are increasing pretty dramatically over the last 2 to 3 months. They're almost double what they were just a few months ago.
Yeah.
And perhaps, Dave, even more of a concern, stocks will become even more volatile, believe it or not. April and May, and I think last week was the worst week for the S&P 500 in a long time. Stocks, it's subject to a lot more and current sudden declines. And the Fed, Dave, they say more rate hikes are definitely coming, many more rate hikes, and they are way behind the curve. So we saw this past week that the Dow fell, Dave, below the 30,000 mark. You know, it's going to bounce from time to time, but, you know, we got a long way to go, folks. Just think of it. This was 37,000, the Dow, just a few months ago.
Wow.
So, you know, that's a 20% drop. That's very painful for retirement income and investment folks. And, you know, a lot of their accounts are being drawn down. Record inflation, Dave, is over 8.6%, you know, much higher than that if you consider gas and groceries, which are the necessities of life. And, you know, people are seeing their savings just rotting away. And the dollar continues to decline in value.
Ken, with the loss of money in the stock market and the decline in the dollar's worth, how has gold fared over the past few months?
Well, it's held its own. You know, I think there's a lot of people out there that are kind of wondering why gold isn't already at 2,500 or 3,000. It'll get there, but gold has not reflected what's gone on with inflation and money printing, and this is not under control. Gold will reflect what's happening at a much higher price. So it's held its own, and that's a lot better than losing 20 or 30 or 40% in a lot of these other investments. But we in no way believe that gold is finished. We expect much higher prices from gold.
A reminder here, you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And Ken, several months ago, we started hearing distant rumblings of a recession. But now we're getting serious warnings of a recession from many different economists and financial experts, and that could be an even bigger blow to people's retirement savings, right?
Yeah, it could, Dave. And, you know, who knows what the definition is, recession, and these numbers that are coming out, and they're all skewed, and who knows if we're being lied to anyway, or what numbers are actually even truthful. But however you want to call it, you have to protect your wealth.
Yeah.
And that's basically the reason, Dave, that I've become almost an evangelist for protecting wealth with physical gold, not paper gold or ETF gold or any type of gold mining shares, just gold that you could hold. And I've been through these kind of financial emergencies in my life, and I've seen what they can do to people. It's very, very scary. But the bottom line, Dave, is that we need to be very good stewards of our money. We have to do whatever is necessary to protect the purchasing power of whatever is left or what we have right now, if we're fortunate enough to be in that position. And that's where gold comes in, gold that you could hold, Dave.
Again, a reminder here that you are listening to the Gold Standard with Ken Russo from the Midas Gold Group. And Ken, now let's dig into our topic, paper assets that can be used to own physical gold. Ken, why would a person want to move some of their paper assets, and I'm talking about cash or investment accounts, why would they want to move that over into gold?
The financial system of paper assets, Dave, has become more and more complex, basically since 1971, when the United States took the dollar off of the gold standard. So the dollar was then backed by nothing, fiat money. We've talked about that many times. And since then, we've seen the evolution of computers. The idea of money has taken on a different behavior. And we're going to see many, many more drastic changes over the next 5 or 10 years. Also, with the government and the financial community's attitude of debt, Dave, and reckless money printing and creation, our money, and this is very important, is losing its trust from people.
Mm.
And if we can't trust our money, it's not money. So central bankers and governments have weakened the value of our money tremendously with the attitude of we can print and spend as much as we want to infinity.
And
I mean, how
beyond.
outrageous, Dave, of a statement is that? We
Yeah.
can print and spend as much as we want to infinity. I mean, this has to have consequences, right?
Yep.
So hedge funds and speculators have turned the markets into casinos. We've done shows about that. The purchasing power of our paper assets, Dave, are dwindling with record inflation. And like I said, it's not under control. It's not transitory, quite the opposite. It has the potential and more than likely will spiral out of control because we know more money printing is coming. So what is more appalling, Dave, is the lack of privacy also for our money. The financial system is definitely going digital. We talked about that before. If the global elite have their way, all of our assets will be located either held by the Fed or the Treasury. We talked about that before, central bank digital currencies or central government digital currencies. Our money in our retirement accounts, Dave, will be digital currency that's monitored by these same lunatics that are proposing a one world government and a one world currency idea. The Great Reset. We talked about that just last week. This will allow all eyes, Dave, to see all of our financial transactions that go into our accounts and out of the system at the same time. So
And
it's outrageous.
and just in case anyone doubts what you're saying, look at how far into a digital monetary system we already have traveled. I mean, so much of what we do financially, we already do digitally. Paychecks are digitally deposited into our accounts. We pay our bills online through our banks and financial institutions. Deposits into company 401ks are transferred digitally. Our financial advisors manage our investment funds and our retirement accounts digitally.
Yeah, and this has already been done in other countries, and there's going to be more traction. I was on the website yesterday, I believe it was called FedWire, and it was talking about how the Federal Reserve System is going to be having digital payments by 2023. I mean, that's next year. So
Wow.
all of this means, Dave, that there's already a digital record of most of your transactions already. It's just going to increase from there, and these can be delved into by the government if they decide that they want to know where your money is and how you spend it. I mean, pretty much straightforward, right? Now, how easy will it be for them, Dave, to take the next step to move all financial transactions into digital only status? I mean, that's the goal. Control, right? Control money.
Yeah.
And I want to emphasize that I'm not a wild-eyed conspiracy theorist here, Dave. We've talked about that before. I'm just looking at the logical progression that's already being explored by our government. And believe it or not, yes, the American government, As we all know, a recent bill, Dave, was brought before Congress proposing that all monetary transactions of $600 or more be reported to the IRS. Fortunately, public outcry killed this bill, but it will be back.
That's what
Yeah.
I do worry about. A reminder here that you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and today our topic is paper assets that can be used to own physical gold, how you can turn paper into gold. Ken, certain financial transactions are already reported to the government, right? So how does physical gold protect us then from this kind of intrusion and control?
That's what we're talking about, getting some money out of the banking system and out of the markets while you can. So it is in your own control. And that's because it's gold you hold is gold you own, Dave. We've talked about that many times. Tangible wealth, not dependent on any propped up financial system. It's private. It's not listed on any account ledger. It's your personal wealth, guarding you against any attempt to control your finances. So gold protects you from anyone else controlling you financially, Dave. You always have the option of being close and getting to some of your money, and that's important. And in today's world, not to be able to get to some of your money, having it frozen, who knows, no access, that is not beyond possibility.
And we're going to talk more about how to convert paper assets into physical gold just a little bit later in the program. But first, a reminder that you are listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And today, our topic is paper assets that can be used to own physical gold. And in a moment, we're going to look at a specific precious metal that you can use to safeguard your wealth. And that's coming up right after this.
The gross domestic product, the GDP, declined in the first quarter of this year at a 1.4% annualized pace, marking an abrupt reversal for the economy. Many financial experts believe that 2 straight quarterly declines mean recession, which is why I diversify my investments with physical gold from Midas Gold Group. Gold traditionally holds its value when the dollar falls and economies fail. Sebastian Gorka here. I know from experience that many factors can unexpectedly cause sudden market downturns that can rob you of your retirement security. I recommend calling Midas Gold Group to talk about safeguarding your wealth with physical gold. Don't wait until inflation devalues your savings. Diversify your investments today with physical gold and precious metals with the only gold company I recommend, Midas Gold Group. Log on MidasGoldGroup.com, then call them at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. It's gold you can hold.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno, and our topic today is paper assets that can be used to own physical gold. You might say how to turn paper into gold. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office and come meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, just call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. Ken, now we turn to look at a specific gold product. Today, the gold Canadian maple leaf. What can you tell us about this very popular gold bullion coin?
Well, bullion, that is the right terminology, Dave. This is not a numismatic coin. It's not a proof coin. It's a bullion coin. Many people just feel bullion is bars, but in this particular instance, bullion is also a coin. The Canadian maple leaf is from the prestigious Royal Canadian Mint. It's 0.9999 fine gold. It boasts the title of being one of the most popular bullion coins in the world, Dave. I love it. It's a great coin, and it is IRA eligible.
Yeah, I've got one of these in my collection. It's a very shiny coin with some real heft to it.
Yeah, a little bit thicker, a little bit smaller diameter than some of the other coins, but 24 karat gold. The gold maple leaf is recognized as one of the finest gold bullion products in the world. And you're right about the finish. It has a nice kind of glisten to it. You've got one right there in your hand. The obverse, the head side, if you will, depicts Queen Elizabeth II. The reverse side features the iconic maple leaf, which is the national symbol of Canada. They do come in different denominations, but by far, Dave, the 1 ounce is the most popular version of the gold maple leaf. These coins are also micro-inscribed with radial lines on both sides. It discourages counterfeiters, so there's some very good counterfeiting technology on the gold maple leaf. And always, Dave, Midas Gold Group is more than happy to advise prospective buyers or clients on whether this coin is right for them. As you always know, we always preach having a diversified precious metals portfolio besides an investment portfolio of diversification. We are a direct distributor of Canadian Royal Mint products, and we will always deliver pristine quality, brilliant uncirculated products. They're a good value. We try to offer tremendous savings and service, and the gold maple leaf is a coin that should be considered by any single person who's looking for the basic principles and benefits of owning physical gold.
And I love the fact that people can go to the website, MidasGoldGroup.com, and they can actually take a look at this coin, both sides of it, and get an even more extensive description of it. So when they call you, they really can see what they're talking about when they want to add this to their collection. Ken, thank you. Coming up in a moment, we're going to continue talking about paper assets that can be used to own physical gold with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and that's coming up right after this.
American GDP declined in the first quarter this year 1.4%. Many financial experts say that 2 straight quarterly declines signal a recession, which is why I diversify my investments with physical gold from the company I trust, Midas Gold Group. Gold holds its value when economies fail. Sebastian Gorka here. Call Midas Gold Group, 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. It's gold you can hold.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno. Our topic today is paper assets that can be used to own physical gold. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. You can get the address and directions by logging onto our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you elsewhere living in other cities, just call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Ken, something I want to inject here. When they call you, they're not calling some boiler room outfit that just doesn't care about you, right? They're really calling you at Midas Gold Group.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that try and market silver and gold, but we're a veteran-owned company. We take our clients very seriously. We set a standard that's far and above anything else that's out there. We speak to our clients specifically. We just don't hire people that come on in and pitch products that are beneficial to Midas Gold Group or high commission salesmen. So yeah, I mean, it's a relationship that we have the intention of having with our clients for the next 20, 30 years. So it's very personal, and we do provide very specific personal attention.
And I know that in person myself. Now let's return to our topic today, paper assets that can be used to own physical gold. And I like to subtitle this, How to Turn Paper into Gold. Ken, you stated earlier that so-called non-qualified paper asset accounts can be moved into gold. What are non-qualified paper assets?
Non-qualified simply means it's an account that's not a retirement account, like an IRA or a 401k. And I'll cover those qualified accounts in a moment. But a non-qualified account is simply an account like a trading account, a checking account, a savings account, a personal check, cashier's check, or a bank wire can be used to purchase your physical gold in any amount without any government reporting. That's very important. The money in these accounts has already been taxed, and you still have the ability to move it around as you see fit. Still do. But the hourglass, Dave, is flipped, and the ability to do this is limited. as we consider the push for digital monitored currency transactions, right around the corner.
Okay, what about already existing paper accounts or what you called qualified accounts?
Yeah, qualified account, like an old retirement account, can be rolled over or transferred into what you would call a gold IRA. This is a retirement account from a previous employer, which could be a great way to own gold and have a gold IRA and get out of some paper assets, especially before the market takes a lot of that value away. Some of these qualified accounts, Dave, could be a 401k, it could be a 403b, a 457b, or even a TSP for former government employees. Existing plans may also be rolled over into a gold IRA, if the employee is vested or is over a certain age, but it's always a good idea to ask your plan administrator. Each plan typically has a rollover paperwork or a form to move your funds tax-free into a gold IRA. Existing IRAs, like a traditional or a Roth, could easily be moved and transferred sideways, Dave, tax-free into a gold IRA. And now would be a great time to move some of these paper assets before the stock market and the bond market takes more of your wealth away. Or you can't get to your money. Or maybe you don't want the government or the Federal Reserve Bank monitoring your retirement accounts, which a lot of people don't. So for safety and privacy, your gold can be securely held at a depository until you decide to take it out. Because once you take money or gold out of an IRA, there's a tax implication. But it is a preferred way for a lot of retirement accounts in this dangerous market to take paper retirement funds and convert it into tangible gold that will be held tax-free in your IRA.
A reminder here, you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. Today, we're talking about paper assets that can be used to own physical gold. Ken, how does, and I want to come back to this, how does owning gold compare to simply putting our money into some sort of a savings account?
Well, that's a very, relevant question based on what's going on today, Dave. You got to ask yourself, do I want to preserve the value of my wealth here? Or do I want to see its value eaten away because of inflation? I mean, if you put money into a bank account, it's going to dwindle away because of inflation. Let's look at what happens to your money if you did potentially put it into a savings account. Now, the best savings accounts are only earning about 0.5%.
Wow.
Best case scenario. Think about it this way, Dave. If inflation is over 10% right now, and our currency is continued to be devalued, which it surely will as we will print more. If you put $100,000 into a 5-year CD, 5 years from now, you'll have $102,500. So that's a profit of $2,500 5 years from now. And then the bank gets to do whatever they want with your $100,000, generate how many thousands of dollars for themselves in fees that they seem fit. That's a disgrace if you consider inflation. You have to ask yourself, wouldn't that money be better allocated in something that's real money and that I could hold on to like gold? My answer would be definitely yes.
I got to say, that's information and guidance as to why I own gold from Midas Gold Group. Ken, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Dave.
And that is going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. And a reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. However, for answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, M-I-D-A-S, MidasGoldGroup.com. As Ken said earlier, the Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund, and I love telling our listeners about that. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD. One more time, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, thank you so much for your time again today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Dave.
I'm Dave Deno. Come join us again next week at this same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.